Baldur's Gate 3 is a big game, and when you're diving in and making your multi-class builds, there are tons of mistakes to make, and it's totally possible that you already made these mistakes. So I'm here to shine some light on top 10 mistakes you're possibly making with multi-class in Baldur's Gate 3. So first one was actually made by my friend. So as you can see, I got Ranger right now, and most of the fighter classes, martial classes, got this extra attack feature on level 5. And my friend thought that this feature on level 5 can be stacked with your other multi-classes. So maybe you're doing this mistake too. Let me explain. So his idea was to multiclass from level 5 into other class, for example, into fighter. By doing so on level 10, you get this extra attack from fighter. And in theory, it could do 3 attacks in one action, so in one turn basically. But that doesn't work that way. So let me demonstrate you. We just attack these guys, and as you can see, we're starting our turn from attacking once, just like that. Then we're doing our second attack. And that's it. So how this works? Basically, when you got these attacks, and especially extra attack feature, it's called like notable features, or we can call this like passive features. They need to have different names or completely different writings, so they need to do some different stuff. But extra attack from fighter and from ranger, exactly the same feature. So that's why it's not working that way. So one of the way you can go around this feature, for example, or if you really want this additional attack, you need to find a way how to make this attack from other source. For example, you can pick Warlock, and on level 3, you will get this Pact Boon. And Pact Boon, you pick in Pact of the Blade, for example. And not for example, you basically pick in this Pact of the Blade. So on level 5, you will get this improved class feature. So basically, you get Deepened Pact, and with Deepened Pact, you get an extra attack with your Pact weapon. So while this extra attack can be used from the bow, crossbow, basically whatever weapon you want to use, this pact weapon is a melee weapon basically. And if you want to use your melee weapon and you want actually this extra attack with your multiclassing, because if you're not multiclassing, fighters get this extra attack on level 11. But if you get this 5 warlock and get 5 fighter, then you get this extra attack from fighter and you get this bonus attack from warlock. And just like that, you can create your pact weapon. And now over here we get Deepened Pact and extra attack. So now we can basically go and destroy these dudes, and we will do 3 attacks in one turn. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3 from our Deepened Pact, just like that. And this counts with an action, so you can use your action search as a fighter and do a few more attacks. So it's like 1 attack, second attack, and again, it's just in one turn. On level 10, we're making 6 attacks in one turn. So be smart with your combinations. So next mistake is kinda similar to this, and it's kinda following almost same rules. And I want to show you this on Barbarian. So as Barbarian, you get in this class feature Unarmored Defense. And while you're not wearing armor, you add your Constitution modifier to your armor class. So let's just try to do it. Dump in Strength, we dump in Dex. But wait, why? We're making our Dex as high as possible, Constitution as high as possible, and Wisdom as high as possible. So we should add our Constitution to our armor class and our Dexterity too. So right now we're wearing armor and we're getting this 13 from armor and plus 2 from Dexterity. We will get rid of this armor and we get 15 again. So we got plus 3 from our Constitution and plus 2 from Dexterity. And as you can see, it's Unarmored Defense. So when we're trying to multi-class, you could think like, oh, that's nice idea to go and pick, for example, Monk. Because Monk got this awesome Unarmored Defense too. And it got different icons, so maybe it's like different stuff. Barbarian got this orange, Monk got this blue one, and you will add your Wisdom to your armor modifier. So why not to pick this, yeah? Sounds smart, sounds smart. And we got high Wisdom too. So as you can see, it's not Star King. Yeah, we got 2 sources that's increasing our armor class. And how these sources will work. So let me level up a few more levels. Right now we got 3 levels in Monk, and we're still getting this Unarmored Defense from Constitution. But if we take our feat, no matter in what class, and get plus 1 to Wisdom, so Wisdom will get more bonus than Constitution. Then instantly we get this overrided armor class, And now we get +4 from wisdom. So basically how it works, it's picking the best possible modifier you possibly could get. That means they doesn't stuck, and you need to be smart when you allocating your attributes. So another example in this same category, and it's already with armor, it will be a sorcerer. So for example, if you can sorcerer, and most importantly draconic bloodline sorcerer, we will get this draconic resilience, and dragon-like scales cover parts of your skin. So basically when we are not wearing armor, our base armor class is 13. Again, sounds smart, and it's like completely different image, it's completely different stuff, so why should it not work, yeah? And it's not working, as you can see, because it will do kinda same stuff. So basically every stuff that's increasing your armor will override every other stuff. It works like this. So make sure to pick your passives smart. I guess there's like more examples from this stuff, but that's how it works. And next one again from my friend who new to D&D and to this stuff as Baldur's Gate 3. So what he thinks is cool. He thought like it's good idea to pick fighter. Yeah, he like fighter. Then he got his level 2 fighter with action surge. Then he got his level 3 fighter, and he picked his subclass. So his subclass was champion. Yeah, why not? Why not? Cool subclass, improved critical strike. And then he decided like, yeah, why not? My fighter is really strong, so I can go and with improved critical strike get my ranger right now going. So he picked ranger and started to leveling up ranger. He get additional fighting style, more spells, so it looks like cool and is interesting developing character. Level 3 we get in our subclass. So from ranger, of course, he picked Gloomstalker to get this additional attack from the start of the turn. Sounds cool. And just next one, he decided he need to have rage. He need to be able to make few shots from his crossbow and then go in the melee range. So why not to have rage for extra damage, for defense and other stuff? Yeah, why not? Why not? It sounds smart, at least a little bit. And he of course picked Berserker. And I guess you already understand what is this mistake that possibly you're making too. Or not? Write in the comments what's your idea of this horrible mistake when you're multiclassing in Baldur's Gate 3 especially. And last but not least, of course, he picked a rogue to get more cool sneak attacks and other stuff. And then to the last level and get this additional bonus action from rogue. So while this character can somehow work, actually there's big and very big mistake when you're doing this. And this mistake lies in our abilities. So yeah, when you're not leveling up your characters up to level 4, you're losing your feats, and feats give you ability to increase your abilities, to get some additional stuff, and most of the time feats are really cool and give your character really nice edge in the battle. So whenever you're leveling up, you need to consider how much feats you want to pick for your build, and the most amount of feats you could get is 3. So you need to allocate your ability points according to this information, and to get at least 2 feats, you need to get 2 characters to level 4. If you want to get 3 feats, you can get 3 characters to level 4, or you can have fighter at level 6, because fighter is only one who have additional feat at level 6. So basically fighter at level 6 plus any character to level 4 at least, getting already 3 feats. And then you can even get 2 levels in any other class. So thinking about feats in advance is really nice idea. And while it's smart to think about your feats, sometimes it's smart not to take it. So let me explain. We started, for example, as Warlock. We're getting some levels, we're leveling up, and then we're getting this ability to choose our feat. So if you got your build in advance and, for example, you're planning to get this heavy armor proficiency with this feat, it's really hard task to achieve. So you need 1 feat to get proficiency with medium armor, for example. Then you need another feat to get proficiency with heavy armor. And if you want to improve this proficiency, you need 3rd feat. So all our feats will go only to armor. While this is like not 100% a mistake, but you can go around it. And basically what you can do is to multiclass just one time. So if you plan to get like medium armor, heavy armor, shield, and your class don't allow it, you can go and pick cleric. Just 1 level in cleric give you proficiency in medium, shields, and heavy armor. So always check out and think in advance what you need from your feats, and maybe some classes can already close this stuff for you. So instead of picking like feat, maybe you want just one level in sorcerer to get 4 cantrips if you need these cantrips. Always think about what you're giving away when you're not leveling your class. Something like this is a nice question. And another one is really subtle, but sometimes a pretty big mistake. So this mistake is to starting multiclassing too early. Your build can be like super smart and cool, and it could work like on level 8, for example. In my latest video, I got this one build that's actually very strong on level 8 and starting to play on level 8. But on level 7, we got really weird character who not doing too much. So you need to think in advance with ideas of power spikes and other stuff. So biggest power spike in the game when you're starting to face like strongest enemies is coming on around level 5. So on level 4, characters get this access to level 2 spells, they get additional feat, and this feat getting you +1/+1 into stats, and these stats is actually insane. So while you can think like, whoa, +1 to charisma is not a big deal. No, it's like super big deal because it gives you +1 to attack rolls with spells that using charisma, and it's adding to damage and saving throws, and +1 is like a big deal. Because when you're rolling, for example, like D20, +1 is 5% increase. And it's 5% increase in hit chance and in damage most of the time. Because like most of the weapons, small weapons giving you 1d6 damage, for example, and you getting this 1 damage, so it's like 10% of your damage increase, and it's stable, not random. So that's like getting your subclass at level 5 already, not hitting this level 5 could sometimes be a mistake, because as Warlock, for example, you get this Deepened Pact with additional attack, and while on level 4 you was doing, for example, only 1 attack and doing like 10 damage, right now you can do 20 damage in 1 turn, so it's like 100% increase in your damage per round with just 1 future. And that's crazy. And next mistake ties again to this one. So, for example, you're planning to play this Warlock with Pact of the Blade to get this pacted weapon and basically attack with your awesome cool weapon. And this Pact of the Blade will use your Charisma modifier as your damage. So let me just show you if you don't know it. So as you can see, we get right now my Dragon's Grasp, and it's doing 1d6 -1 damage. -1 because we got 8 strength, and it's using strength as main attribute, so it's like doing really low damage. But if we use our Bind Pact weapon and we will bind with it, it's starting to use my Charisma, and instead it's starting to doing 1d6 +4 damage, just like that. But just before we get this subclass future to get this awesome damage increase from Pacted weapon, if we got our stats like this with 18 Charisma, that's like super bad idea. So you can basically plan in advance and play your character as it is right now. And when you know this, like, yeah, right now my multiclass will work, then you go and respect your character and change your ability. So if you're playing, for example, Rangers, and go and get a lot of dex, get super low charisma, and then when you get this 3 levels in Warlock at least, get this ability to bind your weapon, then you respec, and then you bind your weapon with high charisma, and you forget about your dexterity at all, or about your strength. Next up, not understanding mechanics. So I got this from comment section, and it's not like mistake from comment section because I wasn't advised to do this, but I was asked like, will this stuff work? And stuff that we was talking about is kinda, for example, playing Druid, then getting Circle of the Moon Druid, then you getting Monk, and from Monk on level 5 you're getting this extra attack, and we can make additional free attack after making unarmed or weapon attack, and few levels in Storm Sorcery. So this mistake is kinda not understanding how mechanics work. So for example, you can just cast Spike Growth over here, and it's concentration spell, so you need to concentrate on this stuff. Then you can go and become, for example, like Badger. Why not? Why not to become Badger? And just like that, you're Badger and you still can concentrate on this Spike Growth. So it sounds like concentration spells should work. And we get this base armor class of 10. But then we're getting again into Druid form, we're getting get rid of our armor, and we're getting this nice wisdom and armor defense from Mon. But if we decide to get into the Badger form again, we get this unarmored defense going. So basically, as you can see, unarmored defense is working, and this concentration spell working too. But that's not always true. And my advice would be to save the game before you level up and then test everything. If everything working, then continue. For example, if you're going into Bear, wild shape, Bear got higher armor class, base armor class. But if you're using unarmored defense, then you get this lowered armor class. So basically, if you want higher AC with Bear, you need a lot of wisdom to compensate for this unarmored defense. And yeah, you can do it basically with high wisdom, but still, it's nice to know how it's working. And sometimes it's not like too clear on the writings and descriptions of your abilities and skill. For example, martial arts bonus unarmed strike will give you ability to get bonus attack after you make an attack with monk weapon or while unarmed. So when we are Bear, we're unarmed, basically. And let's start our fight with this concentration witch bolt on this dude. Just like that. So as you can see, we're concentrating on the spell, and basically every turn we can do this spell without using our spell slot. Sounds cool. And considering when we was in like badger form, our spike growth keep its concentration, this stuff should keep our concentration too, yeah? When we go into badger form, we should be able to keep this lighting going. And while this lighting is actually going, we're not able to cast it. So we don't have option to just use this skill on other turns as the badger. And same goes with other spells. But again, concentration keeping in our normal form. So you're not able to cast spells when you're kind of bear or badger. But again, when you're, for example, badger, and you make an unarmed attack, you should be able to do bonus action palm strike, for example. But you don't have your knuckles right now, so you can't attack with your knuckles. But extra attack is working. So our extra attack from our monk class is actually working on our badger because it's only adding your one more attack in a turn. So it's working. But other features works only when you're in a monk shape. So to use your unarmed attack with your bonus action, you need to be monk. And as you can see, we got a lot of spells, and with a lot of multi-class possibilities, chances to make mistakes is like massive. So always test out before you try, and always save before you going into multi-class. So next up, not keeping in mind scaling. Some stuff is nice and working wherever you get it. So for example, like Barbarian Rage, while it's getting like better when you level up, and doesn't matter too much, it's like level 4 Barbarian or level 1 Barbarian, it works the same. But for example, when you're trying to multiclass into Druid and you use your wild shapes, as you can see, we're right now level 12 character, and we decided that we very beneficial from 3 levels in Druid. When you're using your Druid forms, they not scale with you. So some stuff scales with character level even, but some stuff scales only with class level. And it's nice to know, because if you need like these animal forms, they won't be strong. As you can see on level 12, we're getting only 13 HP from this form. So basically multiclassing in the Druid is not a great idea if you want these forms from Druid. And basically multiclassing into any Druid is not a great idea, because all Druids scale with Druid's level, and all important features like this badger and other animal forms from Moon Druid, spore stuff from Spore Druid. And the next tip I heard in some YouTube videos of other guys, but they not always explain it throughout, so people can make mistakes. That's why I think it's worth to mention. So right now I'm leveling my sorcerer. So when you get to level 12 as sorcerer, you get around like 15 spells in your disposal, so you can use them. So what I hear pretty often, instead of going into 12th level sorcerer and picking one more level 6 spell or level 5 spell, some strong spell, and pick and feed from level 12, a nice idea and really smart idea to just go and get level in wizards, to be able to learn every spell in the game, because Wizard got this awesome feature. When you get in your spell scrolls, and you can get it from traders, you can find it in the game, in the chests, just in many places. And spells look like this, and we will buy every spell from this dude. That's really nice feature. That's nice feature to being able to learn spells. Many spells got this saving throw, and when you pick in wizard, it's already pretty messing up everything. And everything stopped working like it should be. So for example, our fireball came from our sorcerer, and it should use our spell difficulty class from sorcerer. And as you can see, we got this +4 from proficiency and +1 from intelligence. So it's like messed up to be like wizard spell. And writings on this code sometimes like messing up too much when you're doing this multiclass, but they work most of the time as intended. So for example, from where and you don't have this ice knife on your sorcerer, it will use wizard stats. So for example, let me show you. Ray of Frost is our cantrip, and when we're pressing on it, we got this charisma and intelligence. So every stat is kind of the same, but when you're using this charisma Ray of Frost, you have like 80% of hitting, but if you use your intelligence, 65, because we got really low intelligence compared to charisma. And same with every other spell. So while it can be like smart idea to learn many spells as a wizard, and it's cool to learn utility spells like Scroll of Dimension, so it's not like bad idea, a horrible mistake. Some stuff that really requires you to be able to cast it with your main attribute will be like biggest problem, and because you will get like low intelligence from wizard and only one level from wizard, while it will give you additional spells, they will be learned in this wizard spell book. So you get your wizard spell book and you learn spells over here. So you're not getting them in your sorcerer spell list, you're getting them only in wizard spell list, and you can prepare only 2 spells. So there's like no real reason to learn a lot of spells when you can use only a few of them, and at the same time they will use your intelligence as main attribute. And I guess like this stuff is bugged and you will get like 13 difficulty class when it's actually casted. Last one is not like super big mistake. I guess it's like thing that you need to keep in mind. You need to keep in mind your starting class. So if you got like your whole build mapped, and your whole build will be like maybe a warlock with hex blades or with like cool blade item, and you combining him with a ranger to make this cool 10 attack in 1 turn guy. If you saw my build, like 10 attacks in 1 turn is really possible and really funny stuff to do. On the later levels, you're going into fighter and you basically getting these 2 levels in fighter to get this action surge. But when you're starting with warlock and then you're getting your ranger or vice versa, and then you get in your fighter, maybe you're thinking like, oh, I get fighter on the later stages, and on later stages I will go in heavy armor to be like super high armored guy. And as you can see, fighter gets this heavy armor proficiency. So why not to start as a ranger instead, yeah? And have fun with the bow in the early stages, and then we get our cool swords and other stuff. So that's why you don't want to start as a ranger if you're planning to get this heavy armor proficiency, because when you starting to multi-class into fighter, you're not having this heavy armor proficiency. So when you're going into fighter, you lose many skills, some weapons sometime, and most importantly, you're not getting this heavy armor. Same is true for many classes. So like warlock, I got this little proficiencies, and I guess if you're starting as warlock, you get like more weapons proficiency maybe. And that's like main idea. When you're multi-classing, when you're picking your class in later stages, you're losing some stuff. For example, when you're going rogue, you're not getting proficiency in any weapon. And if you created already some class like warlock and or wizard with 0 proficiency, just only in quarter staffs, and then you multiclass into rogue, you will get only proficiency with light armor and no proficiency in weapons. And if you start in race not giving you proficiency in weapons, you're basically doomed with this class, because you won't be able to use anything besides quarter staff from wizard. So always check out what classes got what proficiency, and if you need this heavy armor as a multi-class in later stages just as deep, then go for cleric. Cleric got this heavy armor proficiency. And when you start as barbarian, for example, you get in this medium armor and light armor proficiency, but when you get your barbarian as a multi-class, you don't have any armor proficiency beside shields. So this thing is nice to keep in mind. So if there's some mistakes that you're probably making, then definitely you will need this complete guide on multiclassing that is on the screen right now. I recommend you to go and watch it. It's like most easy guide on multiclassing that you will see on YouTube. See you in the next videos, guys.